You are listening to Any Given Sunday for Sunday, February 3rd, 2019. I'm your host, Manny Brown. What's good, everybody? I usually say, hopefully everybody had a good, happy week, Sunday or whatever. But if you guys had to watch that fucking snore fest, then I'm assuming, unless you're a Patriots fan, that you didn't have a good day. So I am joined by my boy, my brother, needs no introduction, Mr. Justin Trible. What's going on, man?
Hey, what's good, bro? How you doing?
Oh,
I know how you're doing. We was talking the whole time throughout the game.
Right.
Fuck, god damn.
Yeah, no, I'm doing about as good as any other Patriot haters doing right now. Disgusting.
Bro, put it like this. My girl and one of her best friends came over to the house today.
Yeah.
And they were bored. Put it like that.
Bruh, like I literally dozed off like right before halftime.
Nigga, I would rather sit through stats class again than watch that again.
Dog, I'd watch 50 Shades, all three of them in a loop before I watch that fucking game again, bro. Like like real shit. Like I'd watch Twilight. I'd watch Twilight.
I would rather watch motherfucking No Country for Old Men than watch that movie.
Okay, now you bugging now because Old Country for Old Men is a classic.
Bro, that movie sucks, bro.
Man, listen. We're not even doing movies right now. All right, that's another discussion for another day. You know what I mean? But
I mean, it ain't like we got much else to argue about.
Oh my! I mean, where do we start with this game? Like, where? Oh my! You know what? I'll start. I don't want to hear anything else about Sean McVay. I'm done.
Nah,
all right?
No.
That's over. All right, the boy genius, boy wonder, the offensive innovator. I mean, the guy that if you've had a fucking cup of tea with, or the guy that you shared saliva with one time in your life, you automatically get a coaching hire or a coaching interview. I'm done with that. All right,
bro. They made this nigga out to be fucking Rain Man.
Dog, this man got his ass hit. Now, granted, it's Belichick. I get it, but what the fuck kind of an offensive performance was that? I mean,
terrible.
they made the
That's the worst. That's the worst offensive performance I've ever seen in a championship across sports, bro.
Yes,
like I can't think of another more pathetic. Like I can't think of anything. Like if anybody can remind me the last time an offense shit the bed that bad in a meaningful playoff game, not even a title game, a meaningful playoff game. Like, when's the last time that you've seen something so bad? Honestly, not to pick on you, but I honestly haven't seen an offensive performance that bad since the Pistons got the Lakers the fuck out of here and they had Kobe fucking throwing up bricks all goddamn night. But
yeah, probably.
But because that was bad. That was like, very bad. But like, seriously though, bro. Oh, you know what? The last time that this happened in the Super Bowl,
the
Broncos were bad, and I was gonna say not even to toot my own team's horn, but the Raiders in the Super Bowl against the Bucs look like shit too.
Yeah. No, yeah. I mean, it's happened before in Super Bowl.
But bro, when's the last time that has happened? Honestly, other than the two examples that we gave.
Yeah, it's been a while. It's been a while, man.
And really, the Broncos. Like, I'm gonna even let the Broncos off the hook because that Legion of Boom defense was.
That's what makes it. That's what makes it worse. That's what makes it.
Like
that's what makes it worse.
You think so?
No, honestly, that's what makes it worse because they faced a defense that, let's be honest, the Patriots defense is not great.
No. I thought you were talking about the Broncos. Yeah.
No. I'm talking about the Patriots. The Patriots defense is not that great. It's a solid defense. It's an okay defense.
Their front four is good. Their linebackers are solid, and the secondary has been questionable for the better part of the last 5 years.
Listen, their defense is a solid defense. It's solid.
It's bend don't break.
But this performance, I mean, they made the Patriots defense have to be the George Halas Bears and shit. Like the monsters of Midway. The monsters of New England.
If I would have blinked twice, I would have thought I saw Richard Seymour and fucking Ty Law out there.
Bruh. Oh my God. Willie McGinnis, I guess, was back from the grave. Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Oh,
Ty Law.
Mike Vrabel and shit. Like,
nigga fucking Teddy Bruschi
out there. Like, I mean, even those defenses didn't have a performance like this. I mean, this was ridiculous, but I mean, look, we could say whatever we want to say about the Patriots. I mean, the Patriots are the Patriots.
They do what they do.
They do what they do.
If you get mad at what the Patriots do at this point, like, you're not a fan of football because consistently, time over time, like, You can be mad that they're winning. You can be mad about the allegedly cheating, like you and I were talking about earlier today. Like, you can be mad about that. But at the same time, if you're a fan of football, you gotta respect how, like, these niggas just come up and do what they gotta do. Like, if they gotta run the ball, like they showed in the playoffs, they'll fucking run the ball. If they gotta dink and dunk to get plays off, they'll do that. If they gotta make if they got to throw it deep, like they can do that if necessary. If they got to have a defensive game, they got to do it. But if they got to win the game on special teams, they know how to do it. Like, these motherfuckers are just a fucking well-oiled machine, bro. And like, there ain't shit you can do about it.
Yeah, I mean, I listen, as a Jet fan, I'm done. I'm done fighting.
You can't, bro.
There's nothing else to say. There's nothing else to say. Like, I know Tom Brady didn't even have his greatest performance today. Tom Brady actually had a shitty game.
He looked like shit.
But Julian Edelman, again, has there ever been a more underappreciated, undervalued, underrated, I don't know what other adjectives to throw in there, wide receiver player? The guy has the second most catches I think he has the second most catches.
Playoff history.
Exactly, in playoff history. It's
Jerry Rice, dog.
Now he's had a hell of a lot of appearances and a hell of a lot of opportunities.
But hey,
can't discount that. But I mean,
you gotta be there to rack up the stats.
Exactly.
Jerry
you gotta
Rice
be there and you gotta perform.
Yeah,
you gotta be there and you gotta perform. But you know what? I don't want to talk about the Patriots. The Patriots are the Patriots. Yes, 6 championships. Belichick, Brady, the GOATs.
Hold on, before we jump off that, because it's about to get real spicy, because I know where both of us are gonna head after this. But just to keep on Julian Edelman for a second, like, dude started off as like a special teams player.
Mm-hmm.
And do you remember when they had this nigga filling in at corner?
Yeah, I remember that.
Like, he's so underappreciated as an athlete. Like, I get the joke about like the white wide receiver and shit like that. But like I said a couple years ago, I think maybe even you and I were having a discussion about, like, one day you and I were talking. Matter of fact, we were talking about this when you came out to Boston. And I was like, bro, like, is Julian Edelman elite? And you and I both paused for a second, and then you really think about it, and you're like, yo, this nigga is always open. Like, he just gets open, bro. Like, it's admirable as fuck, dog. Like, I don't know how he does it. But
You ask me right now. Now, obviously, if you're a GM, you're going to take Odell Beckham Jr., you're going to take Antonio Brown, you're going to take Julio Jones, you're going to take, obviously the list of receivers goes infinitely. But in a big game right now, you tell me right now, in a big game, a game for your life, who do you want? You want Julian Edelman or you want Odell? You want Julian Edelman or you want Antonio Brown? You want Julian Edelman or you want DeAndre Hopkins? You want Julian Edelman or you want Brandon Crooks or Mike Evans? Well, you want Mike Evans, but no, but honestly, like, in a big game, a game to save your life.
Hold time out real quick. There are times where niggas is throwing the ball down the field to Mike Evans, and I'm like, hey, is this motherfucker gonna catch this shit? Mike Evans is the, hey, I'll make this really, really fucking difficult catch, but drop the easy one. That's what pisses me off about Mike Evans. But anyway, other than that, but no, bro, like, if it's let's say it's 3rd and 12, and we're on the 30, 40-yard line, and like, we gotta knock on the door. We need to convert this drive. It's fucking crunch time, third quarter, whatever. Yeah, bro. If I got a clean pocket and I can step into my throw, I'm throwing it to Edelman. He's never not open, dog. Like,
the dude is
smart, dog. Like, he's so smart.
Yeah, the guy is just, hey, he can play on my team any day, man.
Yeah,
he can legitimately play on my team any day of the week, bro.
His combination of like football IQ, like, he knows where the defense is, but like, not even to sell him short, because that's the whole like white wide receiver thing, like, oh, he's a hard worker, coach in the locker room, blah 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 blah. But he has elite, like, short area quickness, and he can change his hips, like, to change his routes, because we know the Pats run a lot of wide receiver option routes, so he can decide, like, you got to be smart enough to decide, like, hey, am I going to run this in? Am I going to run a fly? Am I going to run a corner route? But he can disguise that and change his route to run whichever route on the tree to get open in space, in a zone, against man. And he can beat his man because he's got quick feet in short spaces. Like, he's not the fastest guy, but in a short space, this man could probably juke somebody in a fucking phone booth.
He could. And listen,
You know.
it sounds like we're Patriots fanboys. I hate the fucking Patriots. You guys know this. I hate the Patriots.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's at some point you just gotta give the devil its due, man.
You gotta give it as fans of the sport. As fans of the sport, at some point you have to let your personal agenda go away. You know what I mean? If you truly appreciate the sport of football, and if you truly appreciate it as an art form or whatever, like at some point you got to be like, all right, bro, I got to take my, whatever. Like, bro, you know how bad it hurt me a couple years ago to watch the fucking Falcons do work and then ultimately lose. So I was happy as fuck because fuck the Falcons. But
oh, man.
Julio made that huge third down catch on the sidelines, and I was like, God damn, like
they're about to win.
They're finna win. And I was like, bro, like, how am I gonna deal with this? But I appreciate it in the moment because it's a good football play. And I feel like you gotta appreciate good football. Like, you ain't gotta like the shit. There's a difference between liking something and appreciating something. You know what I mean? And
yeah, absolutely.
You have to appreciate what they're fucking able to do, bro. Like, shouts to their offensive line, though. They kept Tom fucking upright all night.
Yeah, the offensive line has quietly been, well, I don't know about quietly now, but the offensive line has been the story of this postseason for the Patriots. I mean, the way that they've played, the way that they've kept Brady upright, it's just been a story to marvel at. I mean, the running game has been something, obviously his performances alone have been great.
Sony Michel's been so good.
Michel,
when he fell to the Pats and they scooped him, and I was like, well, here goes.
That's a hell of a pickup for them because I loved him in college. I
wanted him on my team so bad, bro.
Yeah, the dude is nice, man. The dude is nice. And then shout out to my boy Rex Burkhead, fellow Cornhusker. I love him.
Yeah, Rex does work when he needs to, bro. Like, he don't complain about what he's doing on the team. And Bill tells him, Josh McDaniels and Bill are like, hey, man, like, we need you to get these tough, 4 yards or whatever. And he goes in there and he does his job. Like, he's like a poor man's Mike Allstott. Like,
yeah,
he just goes in there and gets. He does
the dirty work. He does the short yardage guy. The guy that I'm surprised that didn't get a lot of burn tonight, that we didn't hear his name a lot, and I think they over game planned for him, was James White.
Yeah. People are down the street setting off fireworks. This is the hot breaking news that you get on any given Sunday.
Well, you're in Pat's country, so I would assume fireworks would be going off.
I'm gonna check on my dog real quick.
Yeah, Sully might be a little upset right now.
He's doing okay.
Well, Sully, we feel you, man. We feel you. But listen, we could throw bouquets at the Patriots all night long.
They've gotten enough, I think. I think we spent more time than we should have talking about the past.
The real story of this game.
Hold on. Before we go, where do we put this? Where do we shift our focus of blame? Do we blame it? Do we go throw it on McVay, or do we? I feel like we should talk about Jared Goff because this nigga got christened.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
I feel like he got christened very early. And the thing about it is that anytime Jared Goff hears footsteps, he turns into David Carr.
Yeah.
And everybody glossed over it all year long, dog.
I feel horrible, right? Because last week, I don't know if you listened to the show, or no, not last week, but 2 weeks ago, I went on there and I basically paid respect to Jared Goff. I said the guy played a hell of a game. He outplayed Drew Brees in that game.
He did.
Say what you want to say about Jared Goff. He outplayed Drew Brees.
He started off shaky and he came back.
He had some amazing throws in that fourth quarter, really made some big-time plays. Jared Goff showed me a lot in that game, especially on the road, in that environment. Jared Goff showed me a lot. Showed me a lot. And I said, you know what? Jared Goff might be in the conversation now. He might be ready to take that step. Tonight was not a good look. Tonight, he completely undid every bit of accolades that I threw at his way. Listen, I don't even know who to blame. I guess I'll start with McVay first. This is a guy that, since he's become a coach, and I think he's a very good coach. Don't get it twisted. He's a very good coach. But let's be honest. This is a guy that has been anointed, the Messiah. the next one, the next GOAT, the next up, the guy that is going to be the future of the NFL. The guy that, again, I said it at the beginning, that anybody that basically shares a drink with him is going to get a coaching hire. I mean, if you shared a fucking bathroom stall in 8th grade with Sean McVay, you're going to get a fucking interview for an NFL coaching job. So the idea now that this guy's been thrown out there as the Messiah, as the next great coach, and then this is the offensive performance that you drum up against a mediocre defense. This is the offensive, 3 goddamn points. 3 points. 3. And the offense was just terrible. The offensive line was a joke.
Oh, bro, that's when we were talking about like who to put the blame on. Honestly, it's fun.
It's a collective blame. It's a collective blame.
It's collective, but the offensive line did not give Jared Goff any fucking favors.
No time.
And to be fair, the times that he did have, let's go with adequate protection. The times that he did have, he threw a couple of dimes. Before I forget, Brandon Cook should have caught that touchdown. I'm sorry.
Yes, he should have. He should have.
1,000%. He should have caught that.
A big time wide receiver catches that.
Anybody catches that.
Julian Edelman
catches that. I was about to say the same thing, bro. Same thing, bro. Dog, because, and it's going to sound fucked up, but Brandon Cooks has been popped so many times that I'm wondering if this nigga heard, he started hearing the fucking gunshots and shit. This nigga heard the helicopters.
Yo,
all jokes aside, PTSD is not funny. I'm sorry. Both of us are
we're not making light of PTSD.
Not making light of that at all.
Be that as it may.
I will make fun of a football player's brains for being mashed potatoes, though. So I'm sorry. You can.
Let's not make fun of PTSD because it's close to home. Let's make fun of CTE.
Yeah. Brandon Cooks has his brain at this stage has to be the same consistency as mashed potatoes or fucking. I don't even know.
Oh my god,
bro! Every year, how does he get popped? Remember last year he got laid out in the Super Bowl.
Yes, he did.
Same shit, bro. This man's got.
Bro, I think the blame goes to the entire Rams organization, bro. It's a collective blame. The offensive line was fucking terrible.
The defense did what they had to do, though.
The defense stepped up. Hey, until I think the interception was the backbreaker. I think the game was over after the interception.
There's only so long you can hold on, though. You know what I mean?
Yeah, there's only so long. I don't put this on the defense. The defense folded late there, but you know what?
That's one touchdown, bro.
That defense deserved better. Aaron Donald deserved better. And Ndamukong Suh deserved better. Marcus Peters, who had a great game, deserved better. That defense deserved better. And that offense.
Dante Fowler had a good game, too.
Yeah, Dante Fowler had a good game. That defense showed up. The defense did what they were supposed to do.
And they were the weak link coming into this.
Yeah, in a lot of respects, yeah.
Wade Phillips coached these guys up.
Yeah, they had it. The defense. If anybody says that the defense didn't show up or the defense didn't play well, and nobody's going to throw blame on the defense. The defense did what they were supposed to do. The offense, Jared Goff, he's got to be better. I'm sorry. I'm tired of hearing. You know what? But I don't put this on Jared Goff because I don't think anybody really thinks Jared Goff is at that level. If anything, I think tonight kind of doubled down on people's opinions on Jared Goff. I think that's. But Sean McVay took a hit here. Sean McVay. The
play calling was so bad. I thought we could.
You know my favorite line. And I borrowed this from Chris Bad Dog Russo. We could take Sean McVay out the Hall of Fame now. All right, take him out of the Hall of Fame. If he was on the highway to Canton, he just hit a roadblock. All right, because that performance today, that coaching today. Was just unacceptable. It was just terrible. It was bad. It was fucking horrible. The play calling, I was like, and then coming out of halftime, nothing changed. There was no adjustments. They still didn't double team Edelman until late. I didn't see a double team Edelman until maybe the fourth quarter. It was just a terrible, terrible coach game by McVay.
The thing is that there was a couple instances where the play calls were good, right? But I feel like when your quarterback is struggling, your quarterback is getting knocked on his ass, the Pats front four is literally getting in his face before he can take 2 steps back.
Absolutely.
Bro, throw a couple of screens. What? So let me ask you this. Maybe I missed something, like in all of this. Like I know Gurley's knee up, but I thought he was supposed to be healthy.
Don't get me started on Todd Gurley. Don't get me started on Todd Gurley. All right, and I'll say this: I'm a huge Todd Gurley fan. I love Todd Gurley.
Gurley hive over here. Like
I love Todd Gurley. But you know what? Todd Gurley's another motherfucker that needs to, has to. If I was the owner of the Rams, Todd, come in my office. Come on, come on, have a seat right here. Come on, we gotta talk about that performance. I'm paying you $14 million a year. Todd, come on, sit right here. What was that? What the fuck was that?
But the thing is though, bro, like,
and I don't want to hear about hurt. You know what? To the old adage, if you're injured, don't play.
Don't play.
And if exactly, the old adage, if you're injured, don't play. But if you play, you're not injured.
This is my thing. This is my thing though. Where do we shift this? Like, I feel like the whole theme of this episode is like, where do we shift this focus of blame?
I think it has to be on McVay.
Because there's plenty of times that the camera's panned over to Gurley. He's got his helmet on and he's standing there.
It's McVay. It's McVay. That's why I put this on McVay. Yep.
Because
I put it on McVay.
If Todd is hurt, like, there has to be a level of you intervening on behalf of your star player, your running back who takes the most hits, who's already had a history of knee injuries. So you either say
your best player right now, or at least your best offensive player.
Your best, yeah, okay, because it's Aaron Donald, right?
Right.
Arguably the best back in the league, top 3 at worst. You have to intervene. You say, Todd, I know it's a Super Bowl. I know you want to play, but you're not you. So, blah, 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 blah. These are the steps we need to take. We're going to put you on a pitch count or whatever.
Right.
Right? Or, if he's fucking healthy, run him out there.
But see, this is the thing. Because against the Cowboys, he actually had a pretty good game. He actually played well.
He looked good in the snap.
And then in the Saints game. Yeah, exactly. So this is what I don't understand. This is like, is he hurt? That's why I'm like,
I'm confused, bro. Like,
that's why I can't completely lay off Todd Gurley, because it's, again, the old adage, if you're injured, don't play. And if you play, you're not injured. So I can't evaluate. Like, okay, so you played. So
and you look good when you're out there.
Exactly. So I'm assuming you're healthy, or you're healthy enough. So again, I don't know. This has got to be on McVay. And look, Jared Goff. Look, and I had a little bit of a debate with Anthony Servino, shout out to Anthony for joining me yesterday on the show. If you haven't listened or downloaded that podcast, it's up right now. Go check it out. We previewed this game. We were both wrong on the score. I don't think anybody had 13 to.
Nah, I don't think anybody. I had like 34 to 28.
I had 27 to 23, I believe, or 27-24, something like that.
I thought this was going to be an arena game.
I didn't think it would be a high scoring game. I actually thought this was going to be more in the 20s. But I don't think anybody predicted this shit. But anyway, shout out to Anthony though. He joined me on the show yesterday. We had a debate because he's a Cowboys fan, and he said right now, out of that draft class, Dak Prescott is the best quarterback. Dak Prescott, Carson Wentz, or Jared Goff. And I immediately said, I don't know about that.
Carson Wentz.
Bro,
right? What has Dak Prescott done?
Hey, he's won 2 division titles. Carson Wentz hasn't done that. I'm a Carson guy. I said Carson Wentz immediately. So I'm with you. But then but after tonight, bro, Goff isn't even in the conversation.
Goff still got to the chip though.
Bruh, you put Dak. Okay, I'm telling you right now. Dak could have had a better game. Dak could have had a better game tonight.
Bro, you and I both have let these jokes fly. Dak has had some stinkers.
He's had some stinkers. He's had some stinkers.
He's had some stinkers, bro.
He's had some stinkers, but Dak has never played this bad. Dak has never played this bad.
Bro, I seem to remember. I was throwing the jokes because Dak had some terrible primetime games.
Oh, he's had some.
I gotta go back. I gotta go back archives because I remember saying that Dak is a Native American Danny Werfel. I remember letting them jokes fly. Listen.
I agree with you.
If you take, I mean, I was gonna say if you take away Zeke, let's look at Dak, but then you could do the same thing with Jared Goff. Take away Todd.
Yeah, you could do the same. You could do the same thing with exactly. Dog, I don't think I've ever seen Dak play this bad. Jared Goff just looked lost. He looked confused. He looked out. He looked like he just didn't know what. He looked like he got hit by a right hand and just didn't know what. He just looked unprepared. The Rams as a whole, the offense as a whole, they just looked unprepared.
So this is the thing. This is the thing. Remember when did Jared Goff start making this leap from like borderline bust to like, hey, he's a great.
Well, I never thought he was a border. I thought the bust thing was a little bit unfair. First of all,
I mean
Jeff Fisher coaching.
The narrative. I don't mean what you or I say. I mean the overall.
Last year, it was last year.
Remember, he got fucking benched for
Case Keenum.
Case Keenum.
Well, I think it was the start of the Sean McVay. I think it was the start of Sean McVay.
It was Jeff Fisher. But this is what I'm saying. I say all that to say this. Remember when Sean McVay came in? Sean McVay is like, oh, we're going to do this. We're going to do that. I'm Rain Man, whatever. But remember the caveat to Jared Goff's success has been McVay calling the play in Goff's headset early and telling him where he needs to go with the throw before the mic cuts off.
Well,
Goff
you know what?
Can't read a defense, dog. Like
he can't read defense,
and that's why
he can't read defenses. Well, same thing with Dak. Dak struggles reading defenses and coverages, so they're both kind of in the same plane.
And this is what I said earlier. I don't want to hear nothing from these fucking old traditionalist 70-year-old fucking white guys about black quarterbacks with this fucking veiled racism that these guys aren't smart enough to read defense. Because Jared Goff just showed that he can't fucking tell the difference between zone and man coverage when there's a fucking blitz or whatever. He can't disguise cover 3, cover 2. What are the nuances? Is there single under? Is there single over? Like, he can't tell the difference between these two, and it showed tonight. There's been times, even in the Saints game, when they couldn't get the call across. Because remember, in the first half of the Saints game, he looked bad.
He was terrible, yeah.
And it's the same thing. And they made the adjustment, which goes to your point earlier, that McVay didn't make any changes to the second half. Goff just was able to make the throws. But he didn't disguise any of these. He didn't change any of the coverages up front. He didn't throw a running back into chip. He didn't put a tight end to chip. He didn't throw any
I thought they should have gone to. I thought they should have gone to more hurry up.
Yeah, absolutely.
Change the tempo up a little bit. Change the tempo. Do something.
If their front four is getting in your ass, you wear them out. And the way that you wear them out is A, run a hurry up. B, throw a shitload of screens. And guess what? You got Todd Gurley, who's the only running back better than catching screens is running and running after the catch in the NFL. That's better than Todd Gurley at that is Saquon Barkley. Mm-hmm. Do it. Wear them down. Wear them down. Get these linebackers running downhill. Get them gas. Patrick Chung went out. You know they're hurting at safety. Get that going. Get the play action going. They could never establish a run to keep the safeties honest. And you give Bill Belichick 2 weeks to prepare against somebody that doesn't know how to read defenses. We know how this goes.
Yeah.
Like, no, Bill's out here playing fucking Risk, and niggas is playing Monopoly.
Yeah. I mean, listen, I and this is the other aspect where Todd Gurley hurt the Rams. So much of that offense is predicated, and Romo said it, in the telecast today, so this is nothing new. But so much of that offense is predicated on the play action. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So having a healthy Gurley helps Goff, and it just showed tonight. I mean, they weren't able to do that play, and their offense, quiet as kept, their offense is a little bit overrated. They don't have a big time wide receiver. I don't love Brandon Crooks as much as other people do. Everybody tells me Brandon Crooks is a good wide receiver. He's okay. He's good. But I don't think he's a big time number one. He's not a game breaker. He's not a number one receiver. Now, you don't always need that to win championships. I get that. But their receiving core is not that great. I mean, they got Reynolds, Robert Woods. I mean,
Brandon Cooks is a more glorified version of Lavernius Coles.
Yeah. Essentially, yeah. That's not a hot take. That's not a hot take.
He's the same type of receiver. He's small. He's quick, but
I just don't love their receiving core. Honestly, I've watched a lot of their games.
Robert Woods is their best receiver. Robert Woods did work when he needed to tonight.
I think Cooper Kupp was their best receiver. Honestly,
true.
Cooper Kupp is their best receiver.
I think Robert Woods is a little better, But I
I don't love Robert Woods. I saw a lot of Robert Woods in Buffalo. Now, granted, it's Buffalo. I get it, but still.
No, but if you look at Robert Woods' time in LA, he's very unheralded because he doesn't make like the flashy play. He runs good routes, gets open, can run after the catch. He does a little bit of everything.
But they have a lot of guys like that. That's the point, though. They don't have that one guy. And again, you don't need that to win. The Patriots have proven that. You know, the Seahawks proved that. The Seahawks didn't have a big-time wide receiver when they won. So the whole idea that you need and quite honestly, I mean, how many championships do Odell and Julio and we laud those guys, and those guys don't have championships.
Yeah,
so, again, so you don't always need a big-time wide receiver, but I just don't love the receiving core. I'm outside of Brandon Crooks and even him, like he's a solid number two, but I don't think he's a big-time.
Man.
I don't think he's a big-time wide receiver.
He's a speed guy. And, he can take the top off, he can take the top off of the defense.
And their tight end position's not that great either. Higbee is okay. Everett's okay, but they're not big time tight ends.
Nah.
Goff doesn't really have a security blanket.
Well, he did. It was Todd Gurley, but.
Yeah, Todd Gurley was insecure, but you know what I mean? He doesn't have that tight end, that guy that could just, you was talking about those screens, Yeah, I don't love their receiving core. But yeah, the Rams are the story of this game, how bad they were. Horrible. They were absolutely horrible. I mean, they looked unprepared. They looked like they were just too small for the moment. They looked like they just weren't ready for prime time. That's what it is. The offense. Yeah. The defense showed up.
The lights was too bright for Jared Goff.
The defense showed up, but the lights were too bright for Jared Goff. The lights were definitely too bright for Sean McVay. And again, this is to ESPN, CBS, Phil Simms, Boomer Esiason. This is to everybody on Fox, the 14 niggas that they got on the Fox pregame show. Like, this is to all of y'all, everybody in the media that basically, Peter King, everybody that lauds platitudes at Sean McVay.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, take him out of the Hall of Fame now, today, tonight. All right, it's revoked. It's over. All right, because that performance tonight was fucking horrible. Horrible. That was a atrocious performance. This man had 2 weeks to prepare. 2 weeks.
Bro,
he had the same amount of time that Belichick had. The same amount of time.
They punted 9 times.
Bro. 9 times. And this is supposed to be this great offense. Oh, the Rams offense. Oh, blah, 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 blah. I don't want to hear it. This offensive innovator, this genius. 9 punts. Some of those play callers, I'm like, what is he doing? What is this? Switch it up. Do something.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to hear about offensive innovator. I'm done. Sean McVay's got a lot to prove now.
Bro, Todd
he got his ass handed to him.
Todd Gurley had more yards in that commercial than he did in the game.
Yeah. I'm ranting now because I'm mad now. Now I'm just thinking about this shit. I'm just fucking ranting. Now I'm ranting now. Because I'm just, And Jared Goff, can you read a defense, please? Please. Read a defense. Jesus fucking Christ. Oh my God. What kind of a performance was that? The Rams, you know what? The Rams need a national apology. I better have a national apology by the LA Rams tomorrow because they put half of America to fucking sleep today.
Bro.
The Rams are the cure. The Rams are the cure to insomnia. The Rams.
It was so bad, bro. Like, I don't know, like, last time that I've, like, fallen asleep or came close to falling asleep during a football game. Like, not unless I was, like, absolutely hammered.
Yeah.
But, like...
Well, I couldn't even fall asleep because I had the kids running around and shit. But even the kids was like, man, what is this? Put Paw Patrol on.
Bro,
Nick loves football, bro. Nick loves football. And Nick, after a while, was just like, Daddy, I don't want to watch this. Put Lion Guard on. Put Paw Patrol on, nigga. Put Mickey Mouse Clubhouse on. Like, I don't even want to watch this no more.
Bro, I almost, like... So, I'm a big rugby guy. USA Rugby is, like, first or second in the world rankings. And they do tournaments. And there was one in Sydney. And they played the final last night at like 12:30 a.m. because of the time difference. And I didn't watch it. I know what the result was, but I didn't watch it to see how they played, whatever. And at one point, I was getting ready to turn my Fire Stick on and go to ESPN Plus and turn on the replay to watch how these motherfuckers played in the gold medal game. Because the shit was just so boring, bro. Like,
no, I was on Twitter most of the time.
So was I. You see me going off all day.
Yeah, I seen you, dog. I was on Twitter most of the game.
I was still laughing at 21 Savage memes all night, bro.
Yeah, the 21 Savage low key was the star of this Sunday, of Super Bowl Sunday. 21 Savage, and that whole news story.
I ain't seen memes that funny, and I don't know how long, dog.
In a while, dog. In a while. 21 low key. 21 Savage. 21 Savage is the star of Super Bowl Sunday. Never thought I would say that.
I hope my man gets his shit figured out, dog.
I hope so, man. That's my nigga right there. Shout out to 21 Savage, bro. I was about to say, who's had a worse Sunday, 21 Savage or Jared Goff?
Shit, I was reading something and they said the like immigration laws in the UK are like worse than here. Like if you don't have like a documented status, like you're pretty
apparently
much
he got here like at 13 or something like that.
I don't understand. I would imagine that he has been leaving the country, like leaving the United States and coming back. You need a passport for that, right? Like,
yeah. I don't know. The whole story is kind of. I don't think because I haven't read it. It's fishy. Because when I first found out, I thought it was fake. You remember I talked to you earlier, and I thought it was fake. But then I started researching it, and I was like, oh damn, this shit is actually legit. So at first I thought like, okay, maybe he was a military brat or something. Or he was, or whatever. Something happened. He was born there and came here at like 2 or 3 or whatever. But apparently, he got here like at 13 or something like that. I don't know how accurate that is, but
he just overstayed his visa.
Yeah, that's crazy.
I mean, I don't know. We'll see.
We'll see yeah. That's how bad this game was. We're actually breaking down. That's how bad this game was. We're actually breaking down 21 Savage. Like this is what we're doing. We're breaking down 21 Savage. Like
it ain't no secret though that he broke out a third verse to a lot where he was talking about ICE locking up kids, and then the niggas come for him the next day.
Shit. Did he snitch on himself? Oh shit!
Stay woke.
Damn, nigga. Stay woke.
I bet Tekashi probably snitched on him. That's why niggas got out.
Shit, Tekashi. Oh man, this is how bad this game was. We're talking about 21 Savage and Tekashi. That's how bad. We should be talking about, man, did you see that play by Jared Goff? Did you see that throw by Jared Goff? Did you see that run by Todd Gurley? Oh, man, did you see that comeback by Brady?
Speaking of which.
No, that's not what we're talking about.
Can you name a memorable play from that game other than the Gilmore interception?
No. I mean, no, not really.
There we go.
No. I can't even analyze the game. That's how boring it is. Because usually you find like little plays, little situations. It was bad. It was probably one of the worst. I mean, the Ravens Giants game still to me is the worst Super Bowl that I've ever watched in my lifetime. That game was bad. 35-0. 35-7.
Was that 2000?
That was 2000. Yeah, that was 2001. That was a 2001 Super Bowl, 2000 season. So yeah, that was bad. I mean, they picked off Kerry Collins like 4 or 5 times and shit. That was like the worst fucking Super Bowl.
But you know what? That was like a defensive masterpiece.
Yeah.
Compared to like just this bullshit. Like I don't know though. Like the shit was just bad, bro. Like
it was bad.
Let's see what else. Oh, commercial wise, what did you think?
Oh, underwhelming. I was like, that's another thing. I wrote on Twitter. I was like, I can't remember any of these commercials. There was nothing other than the Anthony Lynn commercial.
Yep. Yeah.
The Anthony Lynn commercial stood out. That was an awesome commercial.
My allergies start going.
The Anthony Lynn commercial was awesome. The NFL 100 commercial was dope.
That was good.
Outside of that, nothing. No brand commercials, like no Doritos commercials this year that stood out. No like Aflac or
no Doritos
Geico commercials.
No Doritos commercials.
Nothing. There was nothing. I mean, this is the weakest year of commercials I've seen in a long, long time, bro. Like, it was just nothing. I can't even remember.
Call me crazy, but I'm wondering if brands are souring on the NFL.
I don't think so. Not for the Super Bowl. Not for the Super Bowl. The Super Bowl is still a moneymaker. As bad as this game was,
you gotta spend. But for a Super Bowl spot, you have to spend big money.
Yeah, you do. But I still think,
wondering.
But it's a good return on your investment because you're still getting 100. I mean, even this game, as bad as this game was, this game is still going to have 110 million people watching. Like, it's still a return on investment, dog. Like, and honestly, it actually helps. It actually helps when you have a bad Super Bowl to have fire ass commercials because that, people are actually more focused on the commercials than usual because the game is so bad that people are actually begging for the commercials to be good. Usually commercials are a nuisance or like something that you kind of pay attention in the back. The Super Bowl Sunday is the one time a year where everybody pays attention to the commercials. So it's a good return on investment. But yeah, I just think the material, nothing that really stood out. The Toy Story 4 trailer stood out. The fucking Endgame trailer stood out.
I'll tell you what stood out to me is, my guys had like a very small ad going. I don't know if you peeped it, but
I didn't peep it. I know you're going. I didn't peep it. I didn't see it. I probably dozed off.
It's very short. It was very short. But shout out to the brand. The brand's very strong.
Decent Zamero. Yeah. I saw that. I saw on Twitter that they had a spot. Shout out to them. That's big. That's major.
Big, dog.
That's major for the culture.
I mean, for me, other than that,
nothing. Nothing for me.
The commercial with the first responders, I was like, okay. And I feel like, you know what? I was going to go negative, but I'm going to go positive instead because I'm trying to be a more positive person here.
Yeah. I feel you. Trying to be a Christian?
I'm trying to be something, dog. Did you pick the Washington Post commercial?
Yeah, I saw that. That was weird.
I thought that they were going like very heavy-handed with the first responder shit because I feel like even though the NFL, and I'm going to pull this little negativity into it at first, but I get they've been pushing this whole aspect of social justice, which I feel like the NFL did it begrudgingly. And okay, whatever. They do talk about it. Okay, it's a start. I'll take a win when I can take a win. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But they showed like all these commercials like propping up first responders, police officers.
Very heavy-handed. Yeah.
Very heavy-handed.
I caught that.
And I thought that's what the Washington Post commercial was.
Yeah, the Washington Post shit threw me off. I was just like, what is this? Like, why?
But at the end, it all came together. And I was like, you know what? This is cool because we're at a point in time where there are people who support a certain individual holding a certain level of office in this certain country that think that the press is not independent and they think that it's biased and they think that it's for sale. And there's journalists that are literally putting their life on the line to provide the rest of the country with unbiased news to give us what's going on in the rest of the world. And I think that shouldn't be understated how dangerous sometimes it can be when you're trying to get how dangerous the truth can be, really. And I just thought that's why that was such a powerful commercial. But other than that, bro, like other than the Jesus Zamero spot that I was happy about, and the
movie trailers, and
even the movie trailers, bro.
That was
Toy Story was cool.
Endgame was cool.
Endgame was cool.
Toy Story Endgame was cool. Toy Story was cool, but outside of that, like nothing else that really stood out.
I forgot, but you wouldn't find this cool, but I would because you don't watch Game of Thrones. But Bud Light did come through with the Game of Thrones commercial, and I fucked with that heavy.
Yeah, I don't watch Game of Thrones. It's not that I don't like it. I haven't seen it, so. We've talked about this before. It's a big deal. I know. I'll probably get into it sometime when it's off the air.
It's a big time investment, honestly. Because once you start watching it and you pick it up, then you're gonna want to spend all of your time watching it.
You know what? I probably should have invested watching it today instead of.
You should have watched it today. You could have got through a couple of episodes, I probably in the first season. Then you would have been.
Wait a second. I think Jared Goff just overthrew another wide receiver. My bad.
He probably threw it.
I just had to put that out there.
He probably threw it in the ground. Also, shout out to Cardi for getting that Pepsi commercial.
Yeah, Cardi took the Pepsi money. Way to get that bag.
Cardi working hard, man. I appreciate it. I respect it.
Yeah.
And shout out to Sully. Sully got the commercial with Harrison Ford. Did you beat that?
I didn't peep that, man. Dog, I didn't even honestly like. I tuned out of the fucking commercials.
Yeah, it was funny. It was a funny Alexa commercial. But if for those of you who don't know, Sully's my dog. He's a Boston Terrier, and they had a Boston Terrier in the Amazon commercial. So,
dog. Speaking of Cardi and musicians, I guess we can't leave without talking about the halftime show. How bad was that halftime show? Oh my God, bruh! This is this is directed at Travis Scott. Look, Travis Scott may never have listened to the show. He doesn't even know who I am. I'm a peon to Travis Scott.
I don't know who.
But if he probably
doesn't even know where I live on the map, dog.
Exactly. He probably doesn't even listen to podcasts. But if one of the many people in his entourage that just so happens to listen to podcasts and happens to stumble on any given Sunday, I like this logo. What is this about? And they play this episode. This is to you, Travis Scott. I fuck with you. Like, I like you, Travis Scott. I don't fuck with you like I fuck with, like, Hov, or I fuck with J. Cole or Kendrick, but I like Travis Scott's music. It's good party, ride in the whip music, all right? Travis, I never, ever in my life want to hear you without your auto-tune again, all right?
I don't want to hear him live. If it ain't in my Apple Music.
Well, that's the thing, though, too.
If it's not in my Apple Music or fucking Spotify, I don't want to hear it.
Well, that's the thing, too, though. That's the thing, though. Because I was just talking to somebody on my Snapchat, right? Somebody that I knew that went to because he was out here on Tuesday this past week. And somebody went to the show at the Tacoma Dome. And they was like, so I just happened to see the snaps or whatever. So I DM'd them and I was like, I was the show. And he was like, fucking trash. Like, this shit was horrible. The nigga came out at 10 o'clock. Show was over at 11. He did a 1 hour set.
What?
Yeah. And at half the time, you couldn't understand what the fuck this nigga was saying because he wasn't on autotune. It was just fucking bad. So just mind you, thinking about that on Tuesday night or whatever, when I fucking DM'd this nigga, and then flash forward to Sunday and that fucking performance on the halftime show. Like, bruh. Again, Travis, I fuck with you. I fuck with you heavy. Astroworld is one of the best albums of 2018. In the top 5. Dog. Never again. Never again without the autotune. Never again. And then Maroon 5, like.
Oh boy! And listen. Let me.
And I actually like Maroon 5.
Songs About Jane is one of my favorite albums to ever be an album. Like, no lie, it's probably in my top 5. However,
listen,
bro, Adam sound like shit.
Yeah, he did. It sounded
bad, dog.
I think they realized the negative backlash that they were going to get from that performance and leading up to it, that I think they just kind of phoned it in. I think they just was like, you know what? We already got this bag. Let's just kind of give them a quick little
play the
whatever.
Hits. And how pathetic was that Big Boy cameo?
Yeah, I don't want to see, dog, another thing. Here's another PSA. I fuck with Big Boy. His album was dope. Another dope album from last year.
He's a legend, dog.
A legend. But at this point, I don't want to see Big Boy without Andre.
Nope.
So if we're not getting an Outkast reunion, like that shit, like if we would have got an Outkast reunion at the Super, that's the only thing that would have saved that damn halftime show. If my nigga Andre would have came out, like it would have been a whole different.
Can you imagine if the lights were out, completely blacked out, then you heard the countdown, and then nigga Bombs Over Baghdad start playing, and Dre just comes running out with his verse.
Exactly.
When the lights just came on, like
Rosa Parks, an older Rosa, an older fucking, ode to fucking, to my nigga Cap. Like, yo, it would have been dope. It would have been dope, but that didn't happen. So yeah, I didn't.
It did. It was bad.
And I fucked with Big Boy. And I felt bad because I fucked.
Oh shit, he brought Sleepy Brown out. Like he must have got this nigga off.
A Sleepy Brown sighting.
He must have called Sleepy Brown's manager at Home Depot and got him off tonight.
Damn. I ain't seen Sleepy Brown since like 03, 04, son.
I'm telling you, the nigga been working at Home Depot. Like,
hey, he's still, you laughing, but he still got them residuals.
He still get them residuals. Nah, I fuck with Sleepy Brown. Like, I was happy to see him. I was like, cool.
I think that was the one highlight of the show. But dog, it was very phoned in. And I actually like all three artists. Like, I like Big Boy. I like Maroon 5. Yes, I like Maroon 5. And yes, I like Travis Scott. And yeah, but it just seemed very phoned in. And then I know that this might be a false equivalency to some folks, but I saw this on Twitter and I figured I'd run with it. Let's just keep the same energy when Adam Levine takes his shirt off, that
With Janet
we
Jackson?
had when Janet Jackson took, because Janet Jackson's career was fucked up after a nip slip. After a nip slip, somehow Justin Timberlake survived that, but Janet Jackson got railroaded.
Yeah,
and now Adam Levine, and then Adam Levine is out on TV.
He's a white man. Ain't nobody in this world more Teflon than a white man.
I feel you. Especially one that culturally appropriates and can sing. But be that as it may, let's keep that same energy. Adam Levine was out here shirtless,
dog.
Nipples all out and shit. Mm-hmm. California tattoo on the belly, like all that. Like my nigga was shirtless. Let's keep that same energy.
He looked like he did a bid of like 10 years and was just like hitting the yard every day.
Yeah. Of course, people are going to say that's the false equivalency. He's a guy and she's a woman. And fuck that. And that was a different time. 2004. Nope. Nah. Keep the same
because
energy.
People were acting like when the Janet nip slip happened, people were acting like a baby just got sacrificed on fucking live TV. I don't want to hear the bullshit.
Yeah, man. There's nothing else to really talk about.
That's how bad the Super Bowl. We're fucking harping on a halftime show.
Yeah, I know. The halftime show, the commercials. I feel like we could do a better podcast on that than just this fucking game.
Bro, we could have been on fucking live stream the whole time making commentary about shit. And it would have been better.
You know what? Next year, thank you for reminding. Next year, we're going to do that shit. We're going to live.
Yeah, might as well.
Yeah, we're going to live. I'm hoping that next year we don't. I'm hoping that next year we don't get as bad of a game as this one, but you know.
Yeah, I mean, we'll just have to see how more I get drunk through the 4 quarters, and that'll be more entertaining.
I stopped watching after the. I didn't even see the trophy presentation. Did Edelman get the MVP?
I saw Schefter. Schefter tweeted that shit. I was texting you, and then we were like cleaning up a little bit, and I was Edelman got the MVP. Cool, good for him. Yeah. I mean, Edelman did work, but I hope Gilmore got some consideration because he's in with that.
Yeah, Gilmore. That was the biggest play of the game, man.
He's gonna be a free agent too, I think. Good for him. I hope he gets paid.
That was the biggest play of the game, and then second probably was the drop catch by Brandon Crooks. You got to make that catch. It was difficult. It was a tough catch, and he did get laid out there. But he got hit.
It went through his hands. You
got to make that catch, man. That completely changes that game if he makes that catch.
Oh yeah. That puts all the pressure back on Tom, and if there's anybody that can handle it, it's Tom. But you put the pressure on him, and like we said earlier, Tom didn't have a good game. So
no, he didn't play well, but he's allowed that. I mean, he's fucking Tom Brady. He's allowed that, but you know.
But I'll give him this before we wrap it up. Like Tom made the third down throws when he needed to make the third down throws, and at the end of the day, at the end of the day. That's all.
And Gronk, and low-key, Gronk had a good game, too.
That throw to Gronk was beautiful.
Yes, that was a beautiful throw.
Great catch by Gronk. I think Gronk is
going to retire.
Gronk's going to consider hanging.
And and I'm going to put this out there. Gronk is in the discussion as the greatest tight end that has ever played football. He's in the discussion.
Yeah, I think so.
He's in the discussion. He hasn't done it long enough as Shannon or as Tony, but he's in the Gonzalez. He's got to be. Gronk is fucking great, man.
If your discussion doesn't involve Gronk, Shannon, or Tony Gonzalez, you're wrong. Simple as that.
Can't forget my nigga Winslow.
Yeah, Winslow.
Can't forget senior.
Don't get me started on fucking junior. Push off in the end zone.
Yeah, that guy, Mr. Soldier. I'm a soldier.
But
dog, I had a point and I completely forgot about it. I completely lost my train of thought. Dog, this is what I was gonna say. Has there ever been a 7-3 or a 10-3 or a one possession game that really felt like a 21-point game? Has there ever been a game like that it's just felt like that? Like this was a 10-3 game and it honestly felt like it was 21-6. Or 21 or 30-0.
Usually like a 7-3 game or a 10-3 game is like very tightly contested.
Exactly.
There's some drama behind it. Like, bro, Michelle was giving me a hard time. Like, she's like, who are you rooting for here? She's obviously a Pats fan. But I'm like, I'm just really rooting for somebody to fucking make a play.
I'll forgive Michelle for that. I'll forgive her for that.
I'm sure she really appreciates your forgiveness. But I was like, can somebody fucking make a play? Like, can we have something here? Like, I need to see something stimulating or I'm going to fall asleep. And
that's terrible.
This has been the Ambien Bowl. That's
the Ambien Bowl. That's what we're gonna call it. The Ambien Bowl. Yeah, that's what we're definitely gonna call it. The Ambien Bowl. All right, man.
But a win. But at the end of the day, like Michelle was saying, she said, "Slow and steady wins the race," and a win is a win is a win, I guess. But
oh God, that's Patriot. That's a Patriot fan logic right there.
I mean, I'll be saying the same thing if it was my team.
Yeah, hey, to the victor goes the spoils, man. So
yeah,
it is what it is, man.
A wise man said, "A dub is a dub."
Whatever, however you get it, it's all it's a W.
Oh, and Celtics beat the Thunder today too. So
I don't really care about them niggas, man. Y'all ain't gonna can Kyrie make up his mind, Mister Mixed Messages over there? I'm about to start calling Kyrie Mixed Messages Kyrie.
He probably won't, but that's cool. We a couple more months of him doing what he does, and then we'll deal with that when it happens. But that's besides the point. That's another episode for another day.
Another episode for another day, man. All right, man. Well, let's wrap it up. I think we've said enough about the Ambien Bowl.
Yes. Yeah, I think we probably said too much about the fucking Ambien Bowl.
Quite honestly, yeah. But before you go, man, plug your social media. Where can people follow you?
You guys can follow me at Jujitsu, JUTTJITSU, all across Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat, all that good stuff. Same old shit. Same shit that I talk about in here, but with more visual means instead of me talking shit. But yeah. Follow the kid.
Yep. All right, everybody. Thank you for listening to us rant and, babble on about this amazing game. As always, thank you for listening. Thank you for subscribing. If you haven't done so already, go check out the episode that I dropped last night with Anthony Servino from the Fantasy Football Face-Off podcast. Make sure you follow them as well. Fantasy Football Face-Off is available anywhere, iTunes, SoundCloud, wherever. Anywhere you can find podcasts, they're there. So check them out. Make sure you listen to that episode. I'll try to have this episode up before the night is over. We'll see. I'm still a little tired from the Ambien Bowl, but I will definitely have this game up before I actually have this. I can't speak. Have this episode up before the night is over, man. As always, I'd like to thank my brother Jet for joining me on the show.
Yep. Free my nigga 21.
Free 21 Savage, of course. As always, thank you guys for listening. Without you guys listening and supporting the show, there is no podcast. That will never get old. I will never stop saying that. Thank you again for listening. We're just two random guys from anywhere in America just talking sports, and it boggles my mind that people actually listen and support us. So thank you for listening. Thank you for supporting, as always. I hope you guys have a happy, safe, blessed week. We'll be back next week with another episode of the podcast. Until then, peace.
Serious sir. life moves fast. It's good to take a step back and appreciate the little things in life. On Simply Complex, we dive into those professions, items, and processes we often drive past in a blur or take for granted in our daily rush. Subscribe to Simply Complex on Apple Podcasts or wherever you enjoy listening most to take a deeper look into the deceptively simple things in our lives that are actually extremely complex.
Do you like video games? Do you love PlayStation? Then I may just have the podcast for you. My name is Colin Moriarty, co-host of Sacred Symbols, a PlayStation podcast, a weekly show dedicated to all things PlayStation 4, PlayStation VR, PlayStation Vita, and soon enough, PlayStation 5. Since I started professionally covering the gaming industry in 2002, a lot has changed. Games are deeper, more immersive, and more beautiful than ever. They're bringing players on adventures we never quite knew were possible, and changing lives through the positivity of escapism. Our show celebrates all of that with a weekly burst of news and analysis, and a healthy dose of laughs too, mostly delivered via my co-host, comedian, YouTuber, and gamer, Chris Raygun. If you're gigantic nerds like us with a passion for the PlayStation ecosystem, past, present, and future, we hope you'll join us for Sacred Symbols, available on CastBox and pretty much anywhere else you download your podcasts.